just talking about creative job search, right? We need to, as job seekers, need to be creative because during COVID-19, during this pandemic, we're doing things virtually, obviously. We'd much rather be doing things in public, but um, we all have to be really creative in how we do this. We have to be ready for online interviewing, virtual workshops, virtual, basically everything. Um, if we really need to get the attention of the employers are screaming for people at their places of employment. I know up here in Duluth, we're a big tourism city, and come summertime, we are going to need all sorts of people to greet you when you come to town and work at your restaurants and things like that. Employers are really looking for people to fill all these positions because if we're not here to work at their company and help them continue on, we may see more businesses have to close their doors, which is really be sad. But employers have so much on their minds right now that we need to make it as easy as we can for them to see our skills and how we can benefit them with their company. They're trying to figure out, do I have enough hand sanitizer? Do we need masks? How do I keep everyone safe when they walk through the door? And how many people can I allow into my building, things like that. So they've got a lot going on. So we need to make it as easy as we can for them. Obviously, job loss is difficult. It impacts all parts of our lives and everything changes on a daily basis, right? I mean, there's just things going on with COVID, with kids in school, kids not in school, all those different things. So we just kind of need to figure out a game plan and how to keep our attitude in check, because that's one thing for sure that we can control every single day is our attitude. We can choose to be happy or grumpy or crabby pants on or not. So, but we do need to make a game plan either for that next career. Maybe it's time that you need to make a change because the industry you were in isn't what it was before. Just do the research and see what's out there for you and make a change or not. That's totally up to you, whatever you choose to do. But to take a look at all of the different things that we're talking about, because it is stressful. So as state job service staff, we are calling thousands of people that have been on unemployment. And the one thing that I get the most is, oh, I want to get back to work. I don't want to be at home anymore. I want to get back to work. Emotionally, psychologically, obviously financially, and physical changes can happen when you are not working. So you need to sort of get yourself back on track if you have sort of derailed a little bit. And a couple of things. So we don't have jobs here, but we can offer you the tools to help you get prepared and get ready and make some of these changes. So creating a schedule is great. It'll keep you on track. Keeping good records is awesome. Starting a budget if you haven't already done that, just to help you along the way every single day. Helping you, I mean, it's stressful. I mean, you've got the kids at home, maybe now your partner's at home and everybody's in the house and you're all on the internet and the bandwidth slows down and you lost that Zoom call, all these different things. Every day is going to be different. And they put this up there, job loss as one of those most stressful parts of your life, along with divorce or separation, loss of a loved one. So this is a big deal. But your career and your job are not the whole sense of who you were. You're more than that. And just be sure that you keep that in check, that you are more than just a workforce development rep. I'm a wife, I'm a grandma, I'm a mom, I'm a volunteer, I'm all these different things. So just give yourself credit for all the different things that you are. And just think of it's hard to be unemployment, but there may be a change in the future. So it could be a really great opportunity to get into a new industry if you are interested in retooling or retraining. And you're going to get all sorts of opinions on your job search, how it should be going. Well, for me, it when I looked for a job, maybe someone will say 5 years ago, I got a new job in a week. What's taking you so long? This is a different world than it was 5 years ago. So be sure that you just keep track of what you're doing, do your best job, stay in touch with those of us at Career Force. We're here to help you along the way. Some people may say that employers don't ever read cover letters and you decide not to write one, and that's the one thing that employer requested from you and you didn't send in. Or someone tells you that thank you notes are a waste of time. Employers love thank you notes. They really, really do. So do what is comfortable for you. It's a great idea. Some people will tell you LinkedIn doesn't help at all. And some people, some employers, that's how they find people. So do what's best for you, what works for you. And maybe during this time, the average length of unemployment during this pandemic, that we've talked to a lot of people that have been out of work for an entire year. We don't know how long it will go on. It depends on the vaccinations and the safety measures that folks are taking and whatever the governor says as far as reopening. So hopefully that answered your question, Randy. But maybe this is a perfect time to take inventory of maybe what has changed since you lost your job. Maybe now you're working part-time, or you're working two jobs, or you're working from home. Maybe those things have changed. Think about how you feel every day. Happy, sad, angry, excited, maybe scared. And what was lost? What are you missing now? You financially, there may be a hit, seniority with your company, and just that job stability. Those things have all changed. But then there's opportunities that have been created through this, maybe schooling or a career change into something that maybe is a little more stable and going to hang in there for a good long time. So think about it. And obviously, this is an emotional roller coaster. You're going to see all different parts of this. It's not abnormal to go through all these different emotions during your job search. Hopefully today, maybe you're on take action. And today you said, I'm gonna go to a workshop and I'm gonna see what this Career Force has, how they can help me. So you took some action, and then I hope things go on the upswing for you. Hopefully you get some ideas. Hopefully you get one or two tips that you hadn't thought of before that maybe would be really helpful for you. So this is perfectly normal. Get that first real possibility, things are looking good, and then you have a bad day. Maybe that job didn't pan out. But then there's more possibilities down the road as you do more research and find more job postings. The important thing is to learn from this and identify that when you're down, how can you minimize the effects of that to bring yourself back up again? If you're on a virtual interview, an employer is going to see if you are having a bad day. So you need to always keep yourself in check and make sure that you are the best that you can be, especially when you have an interview and things like that. I mean, your attitude is going to help you get through this. And it gives you strength. A good attitude gives you strength. I think it's easier to be happy than it is to be crabby. So maybe put in the chat box, where are you on this emotional roller coaster? Do you have some good leads? Do you have some good possibilities? It's taking longer than expected, those sorts of things. This is all perfectly normal. So just put in the chat box, bored. Yeah, it's been a long time, hasn't it? And we want you to come back to the Career Force, and we want to be able to help you. So keep your eyes open for that. We're hoping we'll be able to reopen someday soon. We just don't know. Difficult stat, trying to stay within your industry. Take action mode. Awesome. That's great. Those are all perfectly normal. At the top of the roller coaster, on your way up or down, it's all perfectly normal. And you know what? Those days you're having a bad day, nothing much going on, maybe that's not the best day to go out and have a virtual job interview. Get yourself mentally prepared to be on the upswing and having a good attitude. So we really hope that we can help you today with some of these things to help you get started. You know, part of it is recognizing your feelings that you just are putting in the chat box, giving yourself credit for those feelings. This whole unemployment thing, reemployment is a real shock to your whole body. Your whole body. And like I say, physically, even if you were a delivery person and you were active, running into businesses and homes and delivering things, and now you're at home in front of your computer looking for a new job. Physically, that will take a challenge, take a toll on you. Um, you know, all of these things. But you know, some things do stay the same, which is great, but recognizing your feelings and finding a safe outlet, whether it's coming to workshops like this, what if it's going to a virtual job fair so you can see some hope that there are jobs out there, things that make you feel better. You know, talking to other people that are in the same boat, maybe not those people that have their bad attitudes on. Find a group of people that are upbeat so that you can be upbeat as well. This is all normal, so finding a safe outlet, and maybe that could be journaling even. Maybe you don't have a network of people necessarily. Maybe journaling could help you. Exercising, spend time with friends and family in a safe environment. And then you know what? Forgive yourself. You lost your job of 10, 20, 30 years, 1 year, whatever it is. You know, a coronavirus, none of us asked for this. And it's a business decision. It's not a personal decision that an employer had to let you go. Okay? So forgive yourself, forgive your former boss. Hopefully they can hire you back when things change and open up. Forgive coronavirus. Um, just to find a way to move on and accept this change and move on forward. Um, because like I say, an employer, if you go into an interview, if you're not ready to move on and make a change, get into a new opportunity, they're going to see that when you're in an interview. So you want to be sure that you've gotten rid of all of that bad mojo that's out in your system, and maybe even write a letter to your former employer, write a letter to coronavirus itself, and tell them just how angry you are about what's going on, right? And of course you would never send the letter to your former employer and can't send one to coronavirus. But if it will help you get it off of your chest and out of your mind so that you are able to accept the change, it's going to be a lot easier for you to move on. You know, let it go, so that you are able to move on. Because bouncing back can be hard, but like I say, every day you can get up in the morning and you can make a choice, make a decision. How are you going to feel today? How are you going to feel? Are you going to feel stronger today than yesterday? Or are you going to be meek and mild? Are you going to be energized and really get out there and do some job search and some research and attend a workshop or watch some other workshops that are online? And being positive or negative. These are all choices that we can make. Some of them might be hard because you might not be feeling so great, but it really is important. It's all about your attitude. It's all about your attitude. And that's going to determine the success of your job search. So maybe take some time to stop and regroup and think about how you might be presenting yourself. So keeping some good structure and some routines may help you with that as well. And ask yourself, if I were the employer, would I hire myself today? Am I the best I can be today? Am I the best version of myself? Okay. Um, it's just really important to keep a good attitude. Now, I think this is the screen where um, I used to um, when I could customize this workshop myself, I used to put in here Al Franken when he was Stuart Smalley. Oh, it's coming up on the next screen. I'll hold that thought. Anyway, keep a good attitude going on. So staying positive, talking with others that are in the same boat that have a good attitude, support groups and job clubs, job fairs will help you stay positive. Again, seeing that there are opportunities out there. Exercising, go to counseling. If this has really affected you so tremendously that you can't get to that move ahead phase, maybe you need to talk to a counselor. Maybe your former employment has a service, or you can just get a referral for some counseling. So here's the fun part. Um, Positive self-talk and affirmations. So this is where Stuart Smalley was on Saturday Night Live, and I'm really aging myself because this was a long time ago, where he would stand in front of a mirror and he would say, "You're good enough, you're smart enough, and gosh darn it, people like you." Do some positive self-talk in the morning if you're feeling kind of down. It's it's easy to get caught up in the you're never going to find a job. The jobs aren't going to pay what you need. You're going to have to drive a long way and it's going to be awful and I can't find childcare and all these things, all these negative things, all these barriers that you can easily put into your brain. Try maybe someday saying, this whole thing is not my fault. I will find a better job or a new career that I'm going to love, or I am capable of meeting this challenge. Okay. I'm a good person and good things are going to happen to me. Okay. It's a lot easier to get through the day when you go through it with a good attitude. Um, Volunteering is a great way to stay positive because you don't know. I mean, obviously it feels good to volunteer and give back. Now, if you're on unemployment, you can't volunteer your whole week away because then you're not available for work. So, volunteering a bit here and there is good. Um, but you may end up volunteering and packing food boxes at the local food shelf, standing next to the HR director for Health Partners. You don't know. You don't know who you're going to meet when you are volunteering. So put into the chat box, and then if we have questions that Sheila wants to address, we can take a minute to do that now. But put in the chat box, what are you doing to stay positive? Because you may have a great idea, something that's working for you that somebody else hasn't thought about. So put in there, and then Sheila, do we have questions that are coming up? I see a couple about unemployment.
Yeah, and there was one prior to that. Someone wanted to know if resumes and cover letters are necessary for positions such as cashiers and stock person.
You know, it depends on what the employer is asking for. If the job posting says send in a resume, you want to put one together and send it in. It really depends on the employer, what they're looking for. And typically it's posted, please send a resume and cover letter, or send a resume, or apply online, and then you just follow the directions online.
Yeah, and then do you want to address the unemployment question that you saw?
Um, Unemployed a long time, don't have any benefit, waiting for federal. There is a bit of a delay in the additional $300. The unemployment system had to, of course, make some changes again. So from what I understand, and I'm not the unemployment office, is that they're, keep an eye on your account, reapply for benefits, and hopefully if you qualify, it will catch up with you. They are going through and doing some additional verifications that you are, in fact, who you say you are, that you do qualify for the unemployment. But the best thing is to connect with the unemployment folks down in St. Paul at the call center, and their phone number is 877-898-9090.
That's all the
Volunteering.
questions I see.
Okay, perfect. Volunteering, eating healthy, reading. That's awesome. Yeah, we're all waiting for the vaccination. Hopefully we can get online and get a little bit back on track. And that's one thing that you can ask employers too, is how are you keeping your staff and your customers safe um, during this time? And make sure that they've got a plan in place to sanitize and masks or shields or whatever it is, so that you are comfortable going back to work, either for your same company or for a new company. I think that is perfectly fair to ask how can I be sure that you're doing everything you can to keep me safe. So some of
Roger,
the other thing, oh, go ahead.
do you have any suggestions for someone who is supposed to be staying at home due to health conditions, how they can get back to work until they get vaccinated?
I think that if you're looking for work, research the company, and then, I mean, so many companies still have so many people working from home that even the health partners, no, what is it? United Health Group up here in Duluth has new people, I believe, starting their training from home. So it's, look for the companies you want to work for first and then just throw that out there. Is there a possibility of getting training at home? Because there are so many people still working from home. Sheila, can you add to that?
No, I think that's a good idea. There are so many opportunities now for remote work. And on minnesotaworks.net, there is a link on there for telecommute positions. So that might be a good place to look as well.
Absolutely. Humor is another good way to stay positive. Watching funny movies, old shows, things that are just corny and funny and won't stress you out. Getting plenty of sleep, awesome. Meditating. I can't meditate because I get too interrupted with thinking of my grocery list. I need to remember to pick up eggs and milk, things like that. But whatever works for you to stay positive, I encourage you to do that. So moving forward, there's a great list of workshops here or websites here that can help you do some of that research, some research about yourself and what you might want to go into. So there's interest and skills assessments, and there's work readiness assessments as well. Am I ready to go back to work? Do I have everything that I need in my toolbox to get me back to work? Okay, so careerforcemn.com is great to do some interest and skills assessments. And if you go ahead and set up an account, instead of just doing it without a username and password, it will save your information in your assessment. So you can go back and take a look at what are those jobs that, based on my skills and interest, it said would be good for me. Maybe I should really check into those and see. So CareerForce MN is great for those assessments kinds of things. And the readiness. Now, my skills, my future, and we're going to I have screenshots of all of these coming up that you can take a look at. But it's a great time to do some soul searching and some self-examination on, do I really want to go back to that industry? Because now you may have a bit of a blank slate that you can work with, and maybe it's time to make a change. So these websites are great for information about yourself and about other companies and about other opportunities. Looking at some labor market research to find out if the career you're looking at is growing or if it's kind of in a decline state right now. You have to research a lot of different things, the time and the cost it might be involved to get that new certification, but it's time well spent, trust me. And then to see if you need to take classes to fill in the gaps. So maybe you came up with the fact that you should be, you'd really love to be a bookkeeper. I mean, that's what you've taken care of your home finances, paid all the bills, all that sort of thing. You want to be a bookkeeper. So what do I need to do to fill in the gaps to meet the qualifications for that? Do I need to learn more about Excel? Do I need to learn more about an online bookkeeping program, of which I cannot think of the name of one, but there may be helps that we can provide for you to get you into that place where you can get into that job that A, you have most of the skills for, and you have the interest for, because to me, that's a perfect match. You want to do the job and you've got the skills to do it. Um, maybe some more computer training. I know this in the chat, some questions have come up about Excel classes. We have some recorded classes. There are some classes online that you can take. I'm going to make a note to send you a couple of links. One is gcflearnfree.org. Great training classes to brush up on your skills, Excel, Word, those different sorts of things. So once you go through this exercise and figure out where you should be, it's a perfect time to make a change or stay in what you're doing and work with employers in that arena and try and get back to work. It's a great time to do some of those exercises. So here is careerforcemn.com. This is the main toolbar. Right on the main toolbar, there's this link for online tools. And this is where you're going to find that employment readiness assessment. See that right on the right-hand side of that? Interest assessment, skills assessment, and then the great, always updated jobs in demand during COVID-19. Okay, so that's where employers are really, really in need of folks in their industries. Build your resume. So you see on that screen it says build your resume. Um, search for thousands of jobs. That's Minnesota Works. But I encourage you to check out this website. It's really got great information in it, and we're very proud of the work that has been done on it. My Skills, My Future is a screen that you could go into where it says enter your current or past job, and it's going to produce a list of career matches that using the same skills, basically the same skills that you had in the previous job, and maybe some new opportunities. It might just be an eye-opener of something else that you could go into. And I believe that screen will also show you the skills gaps. What do you need to do to get to that next position? So we encourage you to take a look at that. Jobstat is this job skills transfer assessment tool. We love those long names and acronyms. But this will give you an idea, and I think the screenshot I pulled up was business and financial operations occupations. And then under that, you can do research on accountants, auditors, business analysts, all those different things. It's a really great long list of occupations, but it's really great information for your research that you're working on. So here we go. So getting into the preparing for the job hunt, I have to get caught up with my printed sheets here so I don't miss anything. And the state Minnesota mn.gov website where the Jobstat is housed, there's lots of great information that you can glean from that website. So understanding the importance of being organized and keeping good records is what we're going to talk about. Sheila's going to talk to us about SMART goals and how to stay on track and be accountable for what we say we're going to do. Know the importance of researching where and what to research. It's critical. And then we'll talk about a few other things. So getting organized, first of all, managing your schedule so that you don't pack too many interviews in one day. You want to have time in between to reflect on how that interview went, make some notes, get those thank you notes ready to go, things like that. You also want to still be, like I say, mom, a partner, a husband, a parent, a grandparent, all of those things. So balancing your schedule to get through this process. And so setting some goals, keeping good records, find it whatever system works well for you, whether it's something on the computer, an Excel spreadsheet, a Word document, maybe it's recipe cards where you want to keep track of all of the contacts you've made, all the employers you've talked to, what was discussed. what's the next plan? Who's going to call who and when? Keeping track of the resumes you sent to employers. So you know the exact resume you sent off to somebody. Because your resume is a living document that's going to change every time you send it out. You want to be sure you have that exact resume for that employer or that application for that employer in front of you when they call to set up an interview. Because you are going to make a lot of contacts. And you want to be sure that you got that information handy when they call up. So whatever system works best for you, maybe it's, paper, 3-hole punch paper in a notebook. I don't care what it is, just as long as it works for you. And keeping copies of the job descriptions of the jobs you've applied for. Um, this will really help you prepare for an interview so that you can reread that thing before you hop on the phone or on the Zoom call with that employer so that you refresh yourself on why you are the best candidate for that job. Okay. Keeping a complete list of your work history, that just helps you fill out those applications and that a little bit easier. And good grief, all the usernames and passwords you're going to have to set up because most online applications will bring you into some sort of portal where you will need a username and password for that company, for every company you apply for online. Keeping having your computer available to you all the time. The supplies that you need, paper, pencil, phone charger. You certainly don't want your phone to die right as you're about to hop onto a phone interview with someone. So make sure that your phone is charged up. And also to think of what's the message on my machine should an employer call me and need to leave a message? Is it professional? That sort of thing. So make sure that you have a professional voicemail on your cell phone and on your home phone if you still have a home phone. And the same actually goes to be true for an email address. Yesterday, as I was making some phone calls, I came across one that was using a completely different name than the person I was trying to reach. So it was a little confusing. Again, we want to make this as easy as we can for the employer to make a connection to us. To me, I'm the best person. And so you throw them for a loop with a different or different email address that doesn't match who you say you are, you want to be sure and update that. And they're free, and you just use it for your job search. And then when you get that next great job, just quit using it. You don't need it anymore. So there's a lot of self-management stuff that you need to do to stay on track, to keep things on track. And I think now Sheila is going to talk to us about those SMART goals. Sheila?
Yeah, I always find it easier to use a tool if I have an example of how it works. So in regards to SMART goals, each letter helps you remember what you're supposed to be doing with your goal. So first you start off with specific. What exactly do you want to do? So you want to pick a goal about your accomplishment and make it realistic. And you want to make it realistic so you don't just get discouraged. You don't want your goal to be, I'm going to apply for 30 jobs this week. Something more realistic might be to apply for 2 or 3 jobs. For our example, we're going to use preparing a resume as our SMART goal. How are we going to measure that we are on track to complete our goal? So you might want to set some mini deadlines, use a timeline. Maybe you want to tell a friend what your goal is so they can check in on you. So in regards to your resume, maybe you are going to measure your progress by presenting a rough draft to a career counselor or someone at Career Force within 10 days. So you have a timeline there, 10 days you need to have a rough draft prepared. And then achievable, what resources or services are available to you to help you complete your goal? We have our virtual resume writing workshop. We offer online resume reviews through Career Force. those skills assessments that Rhonda talked about, that's a great place to get some ideas for skills that you have and include them on your resume. Keep a detailed record of your job history so you have your dates of employment ready, your location, and then job descriptions. If you have copies of your job descriptions, it's a great place to get ideas for things to put on your resume. And a couple of things I find really helpful when I'm helping people with resumes or doing my own is recommendation letters and performance reviews, because those give you ideas of how others see your performance. And you can get some good statements off from those to include on your resume. And then, relevant. Why is this goal important to your job search? Today, everything is online. You have to upload applications online. You have to email your resume. You have to upload your resume to online job banks. So it's really important to have a resume ready to go. And when you do this, it relieves a lot of stress, because then you have a basic resume where you can just, change it a little bit and target it to the jobs that you're applying for. And, we have multiple skills, so maybe we're applying for jobs in different industries. So that's where you are going to need to use some of your transferable skills from your different jobs and apply them to different resumes so you can target your resume to that job. And then timely, when are you going to complete this goal? If you can, use a specific date. Tell your friend what that date is. Maybe they can check in on you. In this case, after you've met with that counselor and you've had time to consider their feedback, maybe you're going to have your resume done 2 days after you met with that career counselor. So that's your deadline. And remember, you can be working on more than one goal at a time. Just make sure it's manageable for you. And you want to prioritize those goals that are going to get you back to work sooner. And when we send out the follow-up email, we will provide a SMART goal worksheet in there, so you can use that as a guide, if you want to use SMART goals as part of your career planning and job search. Okay, back to you, Rhonda.
Thank you, Sheila. Thank you so much. So next we're going to talk about research, and research is critical in your job search. Studying the company's size, their products, the services they offer, their history, their location, their financial situation, and are they growing or are they on the decline? This all factors into your decision making on where you're going to apply for positions. And just researching their needs. What's going to help you become the perfect candidate for them, to be sure that you target what they're looking for, and it's going to help you prepare you for the interview, and to be able to ask them questions, because at the end of every interview they always say, do you have any questions for us? And if you've done your research and when you're applying for that job at Starbucks, what's the most recent coffee drink that they're offering, or what's the monthly special? They're going to know that you care about their company, you care about this job, and that you've done your research. Thinking about their mission statement, or their philosophy. I worked for a company one time where they expected you to work on Saturdays to get ahead of the competition. That didn't work for me in my life. I needed my weekends off. So what's their philosophy? What are the recent changes or initiatives that they've got? Working from home. Maybe that works for you. Maybe it doesn't. Some people don't want to work from home. They want to get out of the house and go to an office. Maybe what are some of their human resource policies or changes? Maybe in the summer you can work 4 10-hour days and have Fridays off, or work half days in the summer, something like that. And again, labor market information, is there a bright outlook for this industry? Of course, this isn't a hobby. We want to get paid for the work that we do. We want to get paid fairly for the work that we do and get the benefits that we deserve. So be sure that that is all in line with what you are looking for. And just the research helps you build your confidence. It helps you write your resumes. It helps you complete your applications if you know what they're looking for. And again, like I said, giving a better impression at that job interview. And even when you see, there will be lots of virtual job fairs coming up. There will be walk-through or drive-through job fairs, local events, statewide events, all those things. If you can get the list of who's going to be there and do your research beforehand, it may be well worth your time because you're going to know who do you want to talk to first, and that sort of thing. What companies really interest you and really resonate with what you're looking for. So keep an eye on the careerforcemn.com. In the search box, just type in job fairs and it will come up with a list of job fairs in your area. So where do you research? Obviously the company websites, their press releases, see what's new, what's happening with them. And be sure that you bring that up in an interview, is that you know what's going on with their company. You know, libraries are probably still closed in most areas, but you can hop onto their online portal and do some research there. There is places where you can get lists of employers, lists of employers in manufacturing, if you will, and so that you've got a concise list of who to reach out to and who to do your research on. Obviously, LinkedIn.com is a great resource for folks. If you're going to use LinkedIn, I understand you should use it often. Don't just set up an account 10 years ago and forget about it. If you're going to use it a lot and make sure that you keep it active, keep it up to date with what's going on with you. Again, those career information websites that we showed you earlier will help you do your research. And I love the idea of informational interviews and conversations. So what this might be is maybe I want to get a job with Cirrus Aircraft up here in Duluth. They build airplanes, and I want to get into their production line, but I really don't know what that entails. If I could get 15 minutes with their HR person or with their department manager even and go in and just find out what's a typical day like? What am I going to do here? How does this work? Will I get cross-trained in other areas? You know, that sort of thing. You know, the schedules, what are their requirements? It's a conversation. It's not an interview. It's for information only. So you take the pressure off of, I need a job and I need one now, to tell me about your business, those sorts of things. Most employers are more open to that. When I used to work at a travel agency in town, when people would call up and say, hi, are you hiring? I would typically just say no and hang up. But if they called up and said, what does a travel agent do? How does your business operate? I was usually more than happy to tell them. Using your network, finding out those people that work up at Cirrus Aircraft and say, hey, what is it like to work up there? I really am interested in getting in with your company. Would you recommend it? Those sorts of things. And obviously reaching out to your local career force location, because we do get contact with employers all the time. They're constantly calling. So do your research on companies that you're looking to go to work for. Now, this is just one thing, and I think they'll talk about this a little bit more in the next session, the next Career Force session, but it's just having something handy that you can have in your back pocket or in your wallet so that if you run into somebody at the market that you know works for a company you want to get in with, hand them this business card, if you will, with your contact information on it, because most people don't carry around nice resume, generic resume with them when they run on errands. But to have something you can quickly hand to them with your contact information, talk for a few minutes. If they've got a business card in their wallet, they might give you one of theirs. And that's sort of full permission to give them a call on Monday morning and say, hey, saw you at the grocery store the other day. Let's chat about what's going on with your company. And you can get these done at Vistaprint. You can get them done at a local print shop relatively inexpensively. Make sure all the information is accurate. Nothing worse than handing out a business card with the incorrect phone number on it. And if you know that they know a lot of people, give them a bunch of business cards and give them full permission to share it with others. Some of the cards that you can get, you might even want to put related information, related skills, or something on the back that is helpful, but that's certainly not necessary. You just want to be sure they have your name. And again, next week, I believe you will talk about work portfolios. This will be just a binder of some sort to bring to an employer, show to an employer your work skills, your previous um, um, information, um, pictures maybe to demonstrate your skills to that employer. And again, they're going to talk about this more next week. So now you finally have applied for some positions or you've done your research, you know who you want to apply for. It's time to start sending out your resume. It's a good time to think about your references. Think about people who will talk about you as it relates to the jobs you're applying for, okay? People that will say good things about you, maybe good things about how you were so helpful with that computer conversion, and how you helped because you know that's what this new job is going to be going through because you've done your research. People who will say it well, speak objectively about you. Maybe avoid those references that are controversial. Maybe the National Rifle Association might not be your best reference, unless, of course, you're applying for a job at the local Gander Outdoor in the gun division. They might want to know that you're an avid hunter. So for that particular resume and application, let them know that you know your way around guns and firearms, those sorts of things. So just think about who might be sitting across the table from you in that interview, and use appropriate references, we'll just say. People you used to work with, former vendors that used to come into your place of business, instructors if you've had recent education. Always ask their permission and find out where and how is the best way to reach them. If you know that they've been out in Arizona for the whole winter and they're coming back mid-May, which phone number do you offer? Maybe a cell phone would be better than a landline because you don't know when they're going to call for that reference. And you always want to keep your references close at hand and don't offer them up too soon because you want to, like I said, make sure that you give the references to that employer when they ask for them so that you know which references you should share with them. And always, always, always thank your references because if that's what it took for you to get the job was that glowing recommendation of your work skills, you want to be sure to thank them always. They're taking time out of their day to help you out. And your reference sheet that you do hand to employers should have the same sort of format as your resume with the header at the top and all of that. So we are at the tail end of this workshop. So this is your in review. This is what your tasks are, and what we want you to do is just get organized, get a game plan, set those SMART goals that Sheila talked to us about. Research, research, research as much as you can. And again, before you go to a job fair of some sort, be sure that you get the list of who's going to be there and research those companies, and gather up your job search tools, if you will. So Sheila, are there any questions that we have that we should address before we close out this workshop?
I think we have addressed all of them. Hopefully I didn't miss any in the chat. We did have a lot of interest in the computer skills classes, so we'll be sure to put the links for some of those free classes in the follow-up email.
Excellent.
And yeah, and there was a lot of interest in the recorded versions of workshops. I put a
Sure.
direct link to the recorded versions in the chat, if you want to click on that. But we could probably add that to the email too, maybe?
Sure,
If
absolutely.
we, okay, if we remember.
I'll check with
Um,
you before I send that out, Sheila, so to make sure that we've got all the appropriate links. And you're thanking us, but we thank you for coming. And be sure that you do check out the other workshops that have been recorded. They're all full of great information. I also encourage you to watch the first ones that we recorded were by a woman named Catherine Briers-Breach. She's not a co-worker of ours, but she did a great job with, I don't know, 5 or 6 workshops at the very beginning. So I would encourage you to go back and watch those as well. But they're all in the same place on careerforcemn.com. Yeah, have a great holiday weekend, everyone. And again, we will put the list of the local career force offices in the follow-up information as well. So good luck, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.